So then we went looking for something to eat, and Lauren looked it up online and found a restaurant that was supposedly allergy friendly because two of us had food allergies. The place was Fire Pit something or something like that over in Pantopia, which is a very pretty place. It's just, I'm not sure what the theme is there, but it's just a very pretty place. And there's a lot of kiddie rides in it. There's also that tower drop thing, Falcon's Fury, which we went back and forth on whether we wanted to do that. Nobody said let's do it. So, but we got to the restaurant and they were closed. And then we saw another restaurant that was closed, but they were in process of opening it. So we went back and checked the Fireside place again, and they were open. So we went in there, and that's crazy. They need some lessons on how to run a restaurant. You go up to counter and order your food, but then you got to wait in line to pay, and it was like a 20-minute wait in line to pay. And we had trouble with the food. I mean, the people behind the counter did not understand allergy at all. We were trying to get a gluten-free hamburger, and she takes the grabbers out of a contaminated bin and uses them to grab my burger. I'm like, no, you can't do that. And then she gets all sorts of pissed off at me. So finally I asked for a supervisor. Supervisor came out. I explained to him the situation, and he took care of it all personally, and took about another 10 minutes or so. He brought us our two burgers, and then I decided to look at the prices, and they brought burgers for $16 each. You know, but that's okay. It's theme park. That's how it is. And it was a big burger. In fact, actually, Christine and I could have split one if we'd known. Plus, your gluten-free buns are always heavy digestively anyway. So eating a whole gluten-free bun all by itself would be enough of a meal in most cases. But anyway, it was good. I mean, it wasn't great, but it was good. It was actually a good burger. Would have been better if it had been warm when we got to eat it, because we waited so long to pay. And then as we're eating in this great dining hall, the stage, they got a big stage in there, and the lights changed, and a guy starts going on the piano up on the stage. Very loud. It was an amplified piano, and we were in the front row, so the amplifier was right in our ears. He just went to town playing jazz versions of several different songs, only one of which I recognized, which was a Stevie Wonder tune, Isn't She Lovely? You know, which he wrote when his daughter was born. So eventually we all finished up our meals and headed on out of there. Feeling good, having a good time, and there was the carousel, so we put Christine on the carousel and we all got on. And this little girl in pink there had separated from her party, and she's in there with my family. So I went over and I asked her, I said, you know, you're in the Jackson family now. And she replied that she was a, whatever it was, her family name. I didn't get it, but it was adorable. But anyway, so she played along with us, and we had the ride, and at the end she said goodbye, and then she went off. And Christine and I kept an eye on her because she was having trouble finding her party. So we kept an eye on her until somebody got a hold of her. Then we headed over to the tube, the water tube ride, and we actually got Christine to go on that one. She doesn't like drops at all, but we got her to go on the tube ride because there's no drops, it's just rapids. And that was fun because we had our group, and then there were a bunch of teenage boys, or 20-something boys, who were like determined. They didn't know about this whole getting wet thing. And one of them was like really like, hold it, I'm going to get wet. Why me? Why me? You know? And, you know, of course, once he did that, you know, we're all picking on him, you know, like, oh man, you're in the seat that gets it all. That's the dump seat, you know. And it turned out through the ride, the water ride, there's some real rapids in it, and basically everybody gets drenched. Now, I knew enough. I'm wearing my rain gear because I've been there before. And Christine's just worried about getting her shoes wet. Well, everybody in there got dumped on except for two people, one of whom was Christine. And she claimed she knew to lift her butt off the seat when the wave was coming. But basically she just didn't get hit, because when you get hit, it don't matter if you raise your butt or not, it dumps on you. And the poor guy who was, you know, all worried about why me, he made it almost to the end, and then he just got a total dump on him. Boom, pow. That was fun, you know, because that was the only one that we all did together, which made it real fun. Then we saw the tiger. You go through a gift shop, and off the back side of the gift shop, there's a big viewing room with benches and air conditioned and big glass windows and very comfortable, very beautiful, but it's like behind the shop. And that's where the big tiger is. And the tiger was very hot. It was very hot there, and he's going down. He's trying to get into his door, but they had his door locked. But he wanted to get into his den where it was a little cooler. Then we walked on, and we saw the orangutan, who came out and did some climbing around. Nice statue there. Then we went on the log ride. Anisette and I were in the front log. Sully, Lauren, and Genoa got in the back log. But Sully and Lauren got in the front together, so they made it heavy, and that's where all the splash comes from. So they came off, they were totally soaked. This is on the ride looking over at Pantoria. This is a clip Christine shot, and I had totally forgotten that we rode this roller coaster. And I think this was the original extreme coaster at Busch Gardens. I'm not certain of that, but I think so. Anyway, it was fun. Anisette she wanted to do Shikra. Anisette really wanted to do that. Sully was game for it. Lauren was game for it. Genoa was 50-50 on it. But I sort of told her, hey, you're young, you gotta go do it. And I shoved her out of the elevator. So they got on, and they got on the front row, and Anisette was on the extreme end of that thing, and I did shoot video of that from the safety of the loading dock, because I was not on it. That is not a ride I'm going to do. There's no plus to it to get me on it, and that first drop is just so mean. On these other rides, there's some plus to them that will overcome the minuses, and on Shikra, there's no pluses. There's just that nasty, mean drop, so I passed on that. And Chinoa got kind of pissed at me at that. I think she got more pissed than she told me, because in the video it looks like she's saying something not kind to me. So the kids did Shikra, and more power to them. They'll be able to tell their kids about it someday. From there, we were going to go to Tigris, but it was closed for weather because there was a storm coming in. It was still a beautiful day, but on the radar there was a storm coming in, so they closed everything. So then we went over to the aviary, which is an absolutely magnificent thing. It's a huge, huge enclosure, just full of the most colorful, exotic birds you can imagine. And they're right there. You're right there with them because they have no timidity about humans. They just go about their business, and you could literally be, well, you can get your finger bit off if you wanted to, because they are right there, and you can put your face up to them, and they don't care. They're just, if they're preening, they'll just keep right on going, or they'll look at you, and, so that was a lot of fun, and so beautiful. Now, my camera was on its last leg, so none of these pictures are great, but they get you the idea at least. And that's what I'm trying to do here. What do you got? Come here. What are you doing? What are you doing, huh? What are you doing? Yeah? What do you got to say, huh? Yeah, what do you got? What do you got? What are you doing? Oh, there you go. Look at you. Oh, and you got up there, huh? Up, up, up. They're running away. At the end of the aviary, pretty much everyone was like, I've had enough. Everybody was like ready to go. I said, okay, but you know, we got to end with a bang. So I said, let's go do the cheetah hunt one more time. So we headed out over there. We came across this area that Busch has to honor those who served in the military, which includes me, and that's how I got here. They'd given us a free ticket. Oh, then we came across this kangaroo enclosure. This was fascinating. Look at those things. That tail, they use that tail as another leg, more or less, when they're standing. See, look, he's got his back legs all the way up to his front end, and he's using that tail to balance himself. And that's why kangaroos hop. And then there were some black swans with some babies in the lake. And then there was a baby kangaroo, and I don't know why he was all on his own. And then we're going back over to cheetah hunt, and we look over and we notice, oh yeah, there's a real cheetah over there. And what a beautiful, beautiful cat. Then we went on to cheetah hunt. Christine and Lauren said no, but the other four of us went, and we did that again. And God, that's a great ride. And we came out of that, and it started a dance party outside, and it was infectious. You just had to go along with it. And there were little babies dancing. It was so adorable, and there were big people dancing, and I'm dancing on my scooter, and then I just started shooting some video of it all just because it was a good time.
Unfortunately, we are going to have to say goodbye to our fantastic party starters. But that doesn't mean the party ends with them. It only starts with them. So you guys can stay out here and dance and have fun. But it made for a great ending. And then we made our way out. I walked them out to the tram line. On the way home, we'd gotten away without any rain there to speak of. I mean, it was supposed to rain, and I didn't hit any rain until I was coming home. When I got into Homosassa, I got whiteout weather ahead. Look at that. This is the last bit of my trip home. Woo! Driving right into it. Wow. Did pretty good. Made it through today from here. And a minute later, beautiful sunny day. I get home and I'm unloading the car, and look at that. Wow. I guess it was a pretty good day.